But before we get started, I just wanted to show how Hun-Gurrr came inside of its packaging. It came just like this, and I thought, wow, they're going to give Hun-Gurrr a new spaceship mode. No, not really, but I would not be surprised if in 4 years' time, Hasbro tries to push this as the fourth or fifth mode of Hun-Gurrr. Yes, here you go. Starship Hun-Gurrr mode. Rawr, our favorite garbage eater is out for lunch. Alright. Good morning. Today I'll be comparing the Terrorcons from the Generation Selects Takara Tomy set with the Power of the Primes versions to help you decide which Abominus Terrorcon combiner team is the best one to have in your collection. So I tried to get these figures in a nice display. I'm not sure if I did a good job or not, but after playing with them for a little bit, I did notice several differences aside from a few advertised paint apps and new accessories that they came with. So on the left here, we're going to have the older Power of the Primes figures, and on the right is the newer Takara Tomy ones. But let's get an overhead view now. You can see there in the middle, each of the former deluxe figures came with a prime armor piece that became one of Abominus's hands or feet. On the right, you can see the new accessories that were first used with King Poseidon, Terrorcon, the Seacon set. You get 2 new hands and 2 blasters, which become the ankles of the new feet. The new feet to be used with Abominus. These are the only things that were not included originally with the Seacons. They're the only new molded pieces. And the shield. Also here, let me get this. So this is the rifle that came with King Poseidon, and it's also now used as Hun-Gurr's weapons. You can attach each of the Terrorcon's weapons to it to make a larger rifle for Abominus to hold. Now to begin with, this was supposed to be a premium set with better paint apps and more cartoon accurate color schemes. I will reserve my overall judgment to the end, however I can tell you that right off the bat it feels like this is a bit of a mixed bag. But we'll see as we go through each of these new pieces, and you can decide, what works for you. Alright, I figured we'd start here with the little accessories. So here you have each of the hands and limbs that go onto the deluxe Terrorcons. So these would become the hands. As you can see, they had flip out, fold out fingers. Here, let me set the camera down actually so I can maneuver these and you guys can take a look here. So this, for example, is Sinner Twins' little attachment. They did have these fingers that you can flip out, and they took a little bit of doing. So these had 2 thumbs on each side. They could hold a gun in where the thumb would go, and they could actually be incorporated into the figure by this little tab, and you could push that into the center twin or whichever other of the limb combiners, or you could have this little attachment came off, and this would become a kind of weapon that they could wield, and this could become a seat for a Titan Master or Prime Master, or it could go and be a storehouse for one of the Enigmas of Combination or Power of the Primes figure. So that's what they would do. You can see that the feet that would form Abominus also had that little feature there. Okay, so overall, you can see that the new Generation Selects figure just had way more plastic involved. And here's a close-up of the feet. Way bigger, way chunkier. And in the promotional photos, it looked like this was going to be a much more dark purple, but they're actually not that different from the original purple feet that came with Hun-Gurrr. And here's the part that I think most collectors wanted. They wanted this little doodad that can attach to the back of Hun-Gurrr, and these aren't attached by any kind of joint or anything. These little wings just kind of fold out like this, and they can become wings for Abominus. Okay. And then we have these little blasters here. These can be wielded by any of the figures, but they're meant to attach to the feet like this. Well, you turn it around and that becomes a foot. Okay, and then the newer hands. So they're much better in terms of they are way bigger in terms of the length of the fingers. And the thumb can actually unclip and move to the other side. The top of it can open up and you can still store a Titan Master or a Enigma combination. However, I find that you can't really snugly fit this in without it falling right out. So I feel like this needed to be molded a little bit better, unless there's something I'm not understanding about this, but this will clip into place no problem. And unlike the hands and feet that came with the original Power of the Primus figures, these have a little trouble attaching to the Terrorcons. We'll take a look at those in a second. Alrighty, now we're gonna move right on over to Hun-Gurrr here, and as you can see, there are plenty of big differences. I figured we'd start with this guy since he has the most substantial difference. Here we have Hun-Gurrr from Power of the Primes with the feet attached on the sides like so. And let me see here. Let's take a little view around here. So he did have that original little belly where you can store one of the Enigmas of Combination. So that has been removed from the newer version. The stickers are also gone. Those pink details on the neck have been removed. And the tail is no longer pink here. Let's take a look-see. So, as I mentioned, the neck details have been removed. The belly is now replaced with this little setup, and the tail has now been changed to the same kind of gray as the rest of the body. And then there's the shield, which can attach to the top. The gun doesn't sit in the center. Instead, it can plug into one of the ports here off to the side, so it's a little off center. Now then, we're gonna remove these little things here. Alright, and here's another view without the accessories. So let's just take a quick look around the figure just to get an idea of what they look like without the accessories on there. So I did mention that there were more differences. This is by far the most drastic difference. I don't think that Hun-Gurrr alone is worth the purchase if you're trying to just get the Hun-Gurrr figure, which is substantially better, but this one is the Hun-Gurrr that we should have gotten to begin with. So let me focus on this guy for just a second. Some of the key differences are that the inside of the mouth has been painted in dark gray. The neck here is now matching the legs. This is now silver instead of the yellow and the blue. The tail tip has been painted in. And instead of the Decepticon logos being attached here and here on the shoulders or the hips of the dragon mode, those are now replaced by these insignias, which are tampographed onto the chest panels or the rear of the dragon. The other notable differences are that the hips have been improved in terms of joint quality. So you can hear the difference when I have the Power of the Primes version. You can see and you can hear that click, and that's probably the most important joint, as it holds up the figure from flopping over when it becomes Abominus. Compare that to the newer version. So substantially improved. I find that overall that the joints are tighter. These legs that are the dragon necks are also improved, and you'll see later on in this review that the Abominus head is completely different in terms of coloration. Alright, now we'll take a look at these in their robot form. A thought occurred to me that maybe I should show off this little combination here. Here's another thing you can do with the accessories and attach them to Abominus's hips, and they become like these gigantic super cannons. Oh, there you go. Let's take a look at the robot mode now. Alright, and now here we have probably the hugest difference. I mean, look at the two of them. They're completely different. Take a look at Hun-Gurrr from all sides here. I think the one on the right is just oozing with more threatening, menacing energy. You can see the backpack here is just something completely different. This is definitely a backpack. This, I don't know what this is, but there's definitely less of it. And yeah, just in terms of overall presentation, the one on the right just wins hands down, and I think this is pretty much the figure that defines the Generation Selects set. I mean, like, what are these? I never knew. You know, I didn't really dislike the old Hun-Gurrr that much. Like, he was fine looking. The plastic is a little bit different too. I mean, they both look the same. They probably are. They probably appear pretty much the same on camera, but I can tell you that the color isn't different. What it is this plastic just feels more premium. When you look at, let me see if I can, what can I show you? Take a look at like some of the neck details here on the, or the leg details. They're okay. You can see the little gribblies. But when you look at This figure, that's not going to show up that well. What I'm trying to say is the details of all the gribbling, all the details, they show up more here, which tells me that this plastic that they use for the new figure, the mold is more crisp. You can actually make out the details a lot better. It's almost as if they made this one kind of blurry, and then this is more high definition. So that it's just it's like the same plastic, but they just have a stronger mold for this one. But like I said, I didn't really dislike this figure all that much. Like I see what they were going for. This was supposed to be very accurate to the original toy, and that's fine. I mean the offset stickers, the mismatch, that's an homage to the original toy. And then this one, they wanted to make more toon accurate, so you don't have that rub symbol look. You don't have these little blue things there. But I always liked this figure. It was fine. But now that we have this one, this is just a much better figure. The presentation is better. The accessories are better. And the joints are stronger too. As I'm playing with these two figures, it's not just the Abominus joints that have been improved. Pretty much all of the tightening of the joints around the ankles, around the arms, and the legs, they feel like they've just been kind of tweaked. Just a little bit. And that's enough to make this a much more substantially robust and powerful figure. It's what Abominus needed at the end of the day. You can probably use the original Power of the Primes limbs, all the deluxes, all the other Terrorcon team members, and use this Hun-Gurrr, and you're going to feel the difference. So that's it for this guy. Let's move on to